Hi everyone, welcome. I'm just gonna wait a couple of more minutes before we get started. So we'll get started about 1, maybe 2 minutes after, just to give anybody a little moment to start. Or sorry, I had a little bit of a feedback. I have to mute myself. Just to give anybody who's running a little bit late a moment to join. Hi there. Let's go ahead and get started. So, I'm Kristen. Welcome to the webinar. You are in the right place. This is the Coordinator to Recruiter Scholarship Info webinar. Now, if you've been to one of my Coordinator to Recruiter webinars before, I just want to let you know this is a completely different webinar. This is for the scholarship for the full feature course. I have done webinars called Coordinator to Recruiter in the past, and it's just really been a sample of the course. And it's been a completely different webinar. So let's just dive right in, knowing that if you've been to it before, completely different. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get that prezo going, and let's dive right in. Okay, so the very first thing I want to go over is the fact that you will need to subscribe if you want to pop in the chat, engage with each other, ask me questions, and all that good stuff. But subscribing comes as easy, or unsubscribing comes as easy as subscribing. So if you decide after this webinar you don't really want to be a part of that, that's totally cool too. You just can do the same thing that you did at the beginning and unsubscribe as well. I will note I'm going to try to answer a couple questions throughout if I catch them. I really should have a third monitor in order to be able to do these webinars because I have to switch back and forth. I might miss your question. If I do, don't take it personally. If I answer some people and not others, I will make sure all questions are answered at the end of the webinar. There will be a dedicated Q&A time. Another thing I want to note is that there are links below. So if you scroll down and click that expand area where typically in a YouTube video there is more info, there are links that are referenced throughout the webinar, and all of those links are actually referenced in that details area, including the application to the course. If you haven't done that yet, that'd be the first link. So all the links referenced, including a couple that aren't referenced that might be interesting to you, are right below. So if you want to go ahead and check those out. Another thing I want to let you know is if you don't know what latency is, I'm going to give it to you in a little bit kind of a layman's terms, if you will. So really how it affects this webinar is latency is just really the slow speed of things. So like when you're watching the Super Bowl live, it's actually 6 seconds late or something, right? Well, it's the same thing with doing this webinar, and it's not going to be noticed until we do Q&A, and maybe only notice if the questions become a little bit less frequent. So when the questions are flowing a lot, you probably won't notice. When they start kind of trickling in a little slow, then you might notice the latency. Other than that, you're not going to notice when it's just me talking. But I wanted to point that out because it technically does exist and it could be noticed a little bit. So let's go over that agenda now. So I'm going to go over an introduction. We'll go over that course qualifications, the lessons that'll be in the course. So that's going to be exciting to talk about, the collaboration aspect of the course, the content delivery, the 90 days free component. I know there's been a lot of questions about that. And then the important dates to remember. And then of course, your dedicated Q&A section. If I don't cover your questions throughout the content, there will be a time for you to ask those questions. So who am I? Who will you be spending this time with and then potentially a lot of time with after this, right? So I am your course creator, your host, your instructor, your Slack community moderator, and your overall question answerer. I will note, if you really don't like the sound of my voice throughout this webinar, you probably won't like the course. I am the person who is teaching the lessons throughout the course. If I am also if you have any questions or anything throughout the process, I'll be your go-to person. And if you have any concerns or anything, again, that's me. So, but again, who am I as a human? I am somebody who, I've traveled to over 50 countries. I've lived in the US and Canada. I've driven across the country 5 times, a few times on my own. And as far as professionally, I have, oh my gosh, I started, in HR and within an NHL arena, and then I kind of went deep into recruitment for a while, and now I went back into HR, into leadership, and then I decided I really wanted to do more meaningful work, and that's how I got into this smattering of like career coaching and course teaching and marketing and a whole bunch of different stuff. So that's the work that I do now. And so why are we doing this? Why are we offering this course? And why are we offering it free? So a few reasons. These times are incredibly difficult. It's just an unprecedented time for the job market, and especially for recruiters. I always imagined whenever I became a recruiter, this is going to sound incredibly naive of me, or, in the recruitment field, I've always thought like in a bad time, people want to hire, and in a good time, people want to hire, but it has been particularly difficult. And, I do think it'll bounce back. It's just going to be a matter of a little bit of time. The course does need a couple of updates. And so you're going to see a little bit of branding where there's a couple of olds, when I say old, only like 3 years, where the branding is a little bit older in some of the lessons, and then the branding is newer, where we've updated. And so I just, want to note that. But I believe good business does good business. And what I mean by that is you put good things out into the world and good things will come back. And so I'm actually going to just show my Mac or my Mac video for a minute and tell you a story, my own personal story about when I was starting out my career. So this is going to age me, but when I was starting out, I hit the 2008 market crash, and I was living in Florida, and I don't know who knows about this or knows much about it, but the housing market and the job market like particularly hit bad in Florida. And so I was lucky enough to have a job. And that's really the position that it was. And I also went to college a little bit later, and kind of worked as I went to school and did the long path. So I was, and so I had a little bit of more of an interesting, I traveled, I did different things. I bootstrapped my way. And so when the market crashed, I was like halfway through my senior year of college, and I had finished I had done all the online courses that I could possibly do that were available at the time. And I was offered a promotion at work, and my work was at a NHL arena where they also did things like Disney on Ice and concerts in the evening. So it was daytime, evening, weekends, and weekdays. So there's no way I could take any more courses at school. I pretty much had to choose job or school. And I chose job because I was just lucky enough to have a job. And so I got the job. And then at that point, at some point I outgrew that job and there was no other place for me to go. So it was better in Florida at that time to own if you had the ability to own versus rent. So I owned a home, which was crazy. And I sold everything in that home, drove a Kia Rio across the country to Seattle for a job. And it worked out for me. But these are the type of extremes that I had to go through to advance my career. And when I think about how crazy that was or how extreme that was, I think about how difficult it would be for somebody right now to have to go through this type of career extremities in order to have to advance their career. And so this is my way of trying to help people try to advance their career without having to do these types of maneuvers. And so I really do care. I really want people to have better opportunities and to be able to advance their careers. And so that's why I am doing this. Okay, so moving on, that's my beginnings and my story. Now you know a little bit about me. So the application qualifications. So let's go ahead and talk about that a little bit. You've probably already seen this if you're in the webinar, but I just want to talk about it a little bit more. There are 4 main qualifications for the application process. Now, the coordinator piece, so you must be a coordinator or a recruiting coordinator similar role for at least a year. This is, I would say, about the 90% qualifier in the sense that there are a lot of roles out there where maybe you've done administration, that really ties very close to kind of doing that coordinator similar work, or maybe you were in HR, as long as you weren't, the other piece that is in here is you can't have been a people manager before. So if you were an HR generalist, but you were never a people manager and you're thinking about wanting to go over to recruiting, go ahead and apply. If you were affected by any of the layoffs in 2022, 23, then yes, that is really who this is intended for. That's the reason we're doing this. If you are, haven't been a recruiter or a sourcer before, that's really essential because of the type of content. It really wouldn't be fitting for somebody who has been a recruiter or sourcer before, just because this course is truly intended to coach and train somebody who is a coordinator to make that transition. And why I say that is there is somebody who's in a coordinator role really is in a heavy trafficking position and very in the operations and scheduling space. And you're going to make that transition into being, yes, you're still going to keep some of those components for sure, but you're getting way more into that like branding and networking positions. This is how this is going to coach you and train you on in that realm. So the US and Canada, the reason really for that is that we want everybody to be able to collaborate, and it just has mostly to do with being in similar time zones, etc. So that's why we wanted to have that aspect. If you are located in Mexico, we would definitely consider that as well. Do contractors qualify? Yes, absolutely. Must be included in a RIF though. So that's where things get a little interesting, is because contracts do have end dates. So not just, you can't just be a contractor with an end date. But if you did, if you had an end date and then you had a really tough time getting employment after because of the economy, go ahead and apply. But if you had a short tenure of in between, I would say, that might be a little more difficult. So this one's a little, I would say contractors do qualify. It's really more about the RIF aspect, or about if you just had an incredibly difficult time because your contract ended, gaining employment afterwards. Okay, this isn't a reminder though that this course is actually for sale. That's, this is a course that is available for purchase. So if anybody is this, or if you don't qualify, that this course is actually available. So let's go over the course syllabus. The course syllabus is actually available for download right below. If you want to go ahead and download it, you can do that, and then you can follow along. I would say don't get too distracted by that download right now, kind of save it for later. And the time commitment for the course is, so it's 14 lessons in about 10 hours, plus there is a collaboration and light study review time. But when I say that, I mean like really light. Mostly you're just going to learn within the course. If you're really struggling with some of the Boolean, you could probably seek out a little bit of learning time, but I would say you should be able to maintain that within the course for the most part. And let me see if there's any questions before I move on. So we have to, Cheyenne says, so we have to have been laid off to be eligible for the course. Can you elaborate more, Cheyenne? Did I answer your question at all with what I went over more? And then I'll come back to you in a minute because I kind of went in a little bit more probably while you were typing that question maybe. Does it have to do with the contract aspect? And then I'll come back. I'm just going to keep going and then I'll come back to your question. Okay, so the time commitments. Okay, let's move on. So this is what the course syllabus looks like. It's drip style video recorded lessons for 6 weeks, similar to LinkedIn Learning, but delivered in smaller bite-sized pieces. So the thing with if you've ever done a LinkedIn Learning, you're just going to go in and dive in. But with our course, you're going to get it in weekly delivered smaller pieces. You may or may not have seen this, depending on whether you've been on our website or you've seen a social post that we've done with this. Now, we blocked out the piece that won't be included with the free aspect that we're giving, and that just has to do with we're not giving the coaching away for free. But I'm going to show in a zoomed in ones. The only part that this is cutting off is the Slack community aspect, which is included. And so as you can see here, I'm going to go through and we're going to dissect this in further, but I just wanted to show what you're actually getting out of this. So there are 3 tiers typically to the course. There's Boolean Plus, which is really mostly just learning the Boolean part of the course. There's Time to Fulfill, which is the mid tier, which is Boolean plus a little bit more. And then there's the Purple Squirrel. So the Purple Squirrel tier is actually what is included with the scholarship. So that is what is going to be included. Now we're going to dissect this week by week for all the lessons. So the LinkedIn checklist overview. So if we, starting week 1, what you're going to do is you're going to get week 1, you get 2 lessons starting out, and that you'll get a download with your first lesson, which is the LinkedIn audit checklist. And this is going to help you kind of brand yourself on LinkedIn. How are you going to position yourself not only as a recruiting coordinator extraordinaire, right? But somebody who is a talent acquisition pro, somebody who is ready to take that next step into being a recruiter. There are small tweaks that you can do to your profile that are going to help. And so that's what the checklist is. And these downloads are things that you can take with you after the course. And I encourage you to have a folder and save that folder. And the next lesson is going to be the recruitment fundamentals. So the recruitment, we'll go over recruitment cycle, the recruitment funnel, recruitment vocabulary. So you're not getting caught up in recruitment jargon and wondering what all that's about. The candidate types, employment types, really going over some of the fundamental laws that exist, internships and pay, and what are the structures involved in that, and what are the legalities involved in those types of structures. what are the recruiting position types. A lot of these things are kind of structured either by the law or by your leadership, but you can have, influence and definitely push back on some things. Week 2, we're going to go over anatomy of a job intake. So there's going to be a download again, job kickoff and intake guide. This is going to be your go-to guide that you take with you. And it'll guide you in how to build a successful client relationships, how to kick off with, every job and really what you need in order to be successful in doing that. And then we're going to do anatomy of a phone screen. So really, how do we break down successful phone screens? What do you need to do to really dive in to do that well? How to ask about compensation and how to do that in an effective way, but also in a legal way, in a compliant way, and in a way that's also very tactful. So, but you're also going to learn how to create your own tone and craft that, because you are your own person. And that's really what we also want to do in this experience. And Boolean lesson 1, there's going to be Boolean infographics. So this is actually where it gets really exciting, because a lot of recruiters, you're going to have a competitive edge after this against even a lot of recruiters in the market, because a lot of recruiters don't even know how to do Boolean now. And you're going to be able to say, yeah, maybe I haven't done recruiting yet, but I know Boolean string search. And that's really, really cool, because a lot of recruiters entering the market now don't know that. And it is, well, let me put it this way. Now, I did a contract at Google, and it was a long time ago. It was like a whole decade ago. But even back then, they didn't want to pay for licenses for every recruiter. And this is back at Google. So now knowing that, you can see that paying anywhere between $12,000 to $20,000 for a LinkedIn recruiter seat for every recruiter on your team is it's a lot of money. And so recruiters definitely shuffle licenses sometimes, and it becomes a very tricky thing to do. And so knowing Boolean gives you the advantage to not get caught up behind on jobs and to be able to do things in Google, especially because people are being more present online, putting their communications online. If you're recruiting for things like design, you're especially able to use Boolean, right? Because portfolios have all those communications. If you're doing things within research, all those research papers and stuff often have communication. You can find information for universities and stuff and reach out. So anyways, what I'm getting at is this is going to be a really effective tool. So you'll learn basic search operators, formulate Boolean strings. Ooh, it is a mouthful. Okay. And week 3, you're going to learn anatomy of a job offer. Again, another download. Job offer script template. Now, when I say script, I'm not saying you're going to follow it to the T. It really is just a guideline, but what to expect and what to not expect, how to close honest offers, because really that's what we're trying to do here. Is we're trying to teach recruiters how to be good recruiters, how to know when to let candidates go because it's not the right fit. And to be really transparent about certain things, right, in the recruitment process. And so that's what we're going to talk about in that when it comes to how to close honest offers. Intro to the recruitment data. Recruitment data is a huge topic, so I do want to be transparent that this is going to be an intro, but we're going to go over time to fill, time to hire, pacing, what does that all mean? Pass-through rates, hire sources, new ways to look at data, what terms are new, what data is new, mock interview phone screens, a couple of examples there for you to listen to. And then in week 4, we're going to go over recruitment agency contracts. And this actually can be kind of duplicit. It can be whether you're a recruitment agency recruiter or whether you are an in-house recruiter. So if you are an agency recruiter, it's how to negotiate on that side. If you're an in-house recruiter, it's how to negotiate from that perspective. But it's really the terms that are the most important to look at in the agreement, managing leadership expectations, and what expected terms and rates are useful, and how to negotiate on both sides. Then we're going to dive into Boolean lesson 2. To set expectations, it's going to be an intermediate level. You'll end at maybe the beginning of advanced. If you feel really confident about your skills afterwards, I would say you could probably say you're advanced level. If you feel you're coming out of there still kind of learning, I would say you're probably intermediate. But you'll be able to have really applicable sourcing skills after this that you can take and put into directly into the job. Candidate communications, week 5, reading the nuances. Now, paying attention to the details. This is something that is not really taught often, but it's really important, and it's talked about a lot in circles and when we're reviewing candidates. And so I wanted this to not be missed in these lessons. And so I added it in because it's so important. And then we're going to go over negotiating offers, how you can negotiate even for yourself, how you can get creative, what is flexible and what's not flexible typically, and when it comes to benefits. And then there are some really creative ways that you might be able to influence your HR team to add new benefits, because it's not just about what you have. If you're working in a small to mid-sized company, you might have a lot more influence on that. And then we're going to go into DEIB and talent acquisition, sourcing diverse talent, making candidates feel welcome, belonging for all, diversity, recruiting strategies. And so there's a lot to unpack there. And then week 6, so you're going to take your Boolean test, but then after that, which I will note, you can take it unlimited times. It's not that intimidating, I promise you. And then you'll go over SMART goals, a little bit of an assignment on setting your own SMART goals with the lessons that you've learned and taking those SMART goals. If you've done SMART goals before, if you've gone through performance reviews at companies, a lot of them use SMART goals, so it might not be new to you, or it could be new to you, but there will be a lesson on it. If it's not new to you, I bet you at some point in your career, it'll be very effective for you to know what SMART goals are. So it'll be really good for you to learn them. It's not necessarily tied to recruitment per se, but it is tied to the people space and tied to learning and development. And so it'd be really good for you to take everything you learned and apply it. And then you'll get your certification, and we'll have a little mini lesson on how to, it's really kind of just a video on how to take that and apply it to your resume and to your LinkedIn if you decide that you want to do that, and utilize your learning for branding and recruiting for your own self. And then, before I dive in, I'm just going to check to see if we have any questions. Looks like we're good. Okay. Let's go ahead and keep diving in. All right. Okay, so let me actually take a drink of water. Whew, that was long. All right. So, okay, on top of everything that has been created for this course, I also feel like it's a missed opportunity often when course creators they kind of get in their own world of like, well, we didn't create it, we don't want to include it. And I think that's such a missed opportunity. So I wanted to include things that I knew are amazing. So we are curating a Spotify playlist, articles, PDFs, any books that I think are recommended. These are all bonus things. They're not required to complete the course. These are just things that I think are fantastic to continue your education if you decide to do so. Any additional videos, communities that you might want to be a part of, whether they be other Slack communities for diversity and inclusion, and they're really great for recruiting great talent. And then other content and downloads that I have come across throughout my career that I just really feel like I want to include, and other, articles from the New York Times or anything that we found that have just really been really great. And so, including those things, not to overwhelm, it'll be labeled as bonus. And if you come across those things, it's definitely not included, but if you decide that you want to take those things, wonderful. So what do you get out of this? Certification, resume content and pieces that are going to make you stand out from the crowd, definitely things that you can put on your LinkedIn as well, and the ability to also up level to be a recruiter. Now, the market is difficult, so I definitely want to encourage everybody to understand that it could be you could be in a position, again, just because of the market. Prior to this current, actually, let me backtrack and say, prior to this current market, I would everybody who took the course promoted to a recruiter within, I think it was like 7 or 8 months was our data after taking the course. A recruiter or sourcer. And so really good data. That data is different now. And so I'm just going to set expectations that is a little bit different now. But either way, it could give you a competitive edge even with getting another coordinator job. And I truly believe that. And then once you're in that position, there gives you more opportunity to be able to advance. So it's either way, it's just going to provide you more skills in the job. Coordinator collaboration. Let's dive into that. So Slack. We use Slack as our main collaboration and communication tool. I think it would be safe to say over 80% of coordinators have probably had some exposure to Slack at some point. And so, or at least Teams, which is very close to Slack-ish. I don't know, maybe, but so Slack is a really great tool for communicating and sharing information, chatting with each other. So if you have any questions throughout the process, you can ask the broader group and ask each other questions. You can share information. So you could, if you come across a great article or an idea, I really encourage everybody to share that information. And then if you have a question, you can message me personally one-on-one, or you can ask me directly to the group if you feel like it is something, if you feel like it's a question the broader group is probably thinking, then they probably are. And that means that it's a great question to ask me in the group. Now, the class itself is one class within the open, larger community. And so what I mean by that is I'm going to show you here. It is the coordinator to recruiter closed group. So it is a private community that you'll be invited to for the duration of the course. And then after the course ends, you'll be removed from that course, but not removed from the community. If you no longer want to be a part of Master Your Craft Slack community, you can remove yourself, but you won't be removed from the community. You'll just be removed from the course itself, and then you'll be a part of the broader community. That way it makes room for anybody else who wants to be a part of the course. The Slack community being open is only 6 months old, so it's a very new thing. But you'll note that it's actually, when you're in there, you'll see the introduce yourself and everything. If you decide that you want to introduce yourself also to the broader community, please feel free to do so. It's also a great networking tool. You don't feel afraid to copy paste and do the same thing in the coordinator recruiter and introduce yourself. Totally fine to do that. Okay, and the content delivery. So how is that? What is drip release? Let's go into that a little bit more. So the way this works is on day one, when you first get your first, it's actually called unit. So each unit has multiple lessons in it. And I don't mean to confuse you with that. So we're just going to say group of lessons. So the first group of lessons is going to happen, or unit is going to happen on day one. And that is your registration day. Again, we're going to go over that a little bit more, what registration day is all about, a little bit later. And so on day one, you'll get those first couple lessons that I went over earlier. Now, exactly 7 days after that, you're going to get the lesson 2. Exactly 7 days after that, not lesson. I already messed up. Unit 2. And then 7 days after that, you get unit 3. 7 days, unit 4, so on and so forth. So that's why it's day 1, day 7, day 14, day 21, day 28, day 35 is when you will get these units. That's what drip release is. On top of the 6 weeks, you're also going to have an additional 6 weeks to complete the whole. So you have 3 months to complete that 6-week course, or 90 days rather. So that's going to be double the amount of time to complete it. So after that 6 weeks is dripped to you, you will have all the lessons in your bucket in that online course. They will already be there for you, and then you'll have all that additional time for free to complete the course. So let's go a little bit more what that 90 days free is. So timeline here, first 6 weeks, drip delivery of lessons on a weekly basis. Now you have all those lessons. Second 6 weeks, extra freebie time to complete the course as, life happens. Maybe you get a new job. Maybe you're busy at work. Maybe something happens in life. Things happen, right? We get it. And then you got month 4. It's $100 for this month if you want this time. Now, my goal is that nobody hits month 4 or 5, but it's there if you need it. That's really what it's all for. So month 4, month 5. At the end of month 5, though, course closes. That's it. No more. Whether you complete or not, it's done. So why is it structured this way? 6 to 12 weeks, it really should be 99% of circumstances should be truly enough time to complete the course. It puts everybody on the same or similar timeline, and that really works for collaboration. So there should be no more than a 7-day swing between everybody. And again, I'll go over that 7-day swing in a minute, and what that means. But it puts everybody within 1 week of each other at the same time start, so that there can be really good collaboration. If there's questions, most people will understand what you're talking about because you're experiencing similar lessons, or at least most people are. Or at least from the start, you guys will all be starting the same time. There's a committed class. I'm just going to tell you how I know this, and that's really because the data that I have shows that when employers have paid for the course, this is me being very, very honest, when employers have paid for this course for students, they have been less committed to finishing it than when they've paid for it out of pocket themselves. And so when there is a financial component, students tend to be more committed. There's just more of a pressure. So that's why we didn't want to just completely offer it free, let it drop into the ether for people as this like social media thing that people saw and it was like exciting, and then they just got it because it was free and then did nothing with it. So having something that does put a little bit of you have to take this seriously if you really want to do it, it does make some people not want to go through with it, and that's okay. That we want the people that are dedicated to the process to go through with it. We did though keep the fee minimal on purpose because we don't want it to be a high fee. But if you do want that extra time, that you technically could take it, but it's only really $200 for the $1,200 course if you wanted that additional 2 extra months. So now let's talk about the actual structure of what that looks like when you go through the payment process to get the course. So the payment process is the same as registration day. I'm going to go over this again. It won't be the last time you hear this. So the cart checkout, this is what it's going to look like. I just want to show you so you can see it in advance and understand it. You're going to get this if you're accepted into the course. You're going to get an email, and you're going to click on something that's going to say register for the course here, and it's going to take you to a page that looks like this, and you're going to enter in your credit card. And I just want to show you so you're put at ease that it is something scary. It'll look like this. It's really structured as a subscription model with a free trial. So you're going to get, it says 95 days here. I'm going to say 90, and we're going to just pretend that that's a cushion on top of a cushion, and, pretend that says 90. So you have 90 days to complete the course, and then you're going to have 2 additional payments of 100 afterwards. If you complete the course, you're going to reach out to Kristen and you're going to say, hey, I completed the course. And I'm going to go, wonderful, congratulations, here's your certification. And I'm going to cancel the subscription, and you're golden. Nothing will happen as long as it's completed before that 90 days. But this is what the email, or this is what the transaction is going to look like. So I also want to show you LinkedIn Learning, Coursera. This is exactly the stuff that they do. So it's nothing different that we're doing that they do. So they also do the free trial, make you put in your credit card. It's the same exact thing. So the cart checkout, let's go over the details. 90-day free trial, 2-month subscription after. It's $100 a month for months 4 and 5. Whenever you finish, you reach out to stop the membership or course access, and it won't process or will stop. So let's say you're in month 4. That's why I say it won't stop. It won't pay anymore. 24 hours notice Monday through Friday, and 72 hours on weekends. So if you're waiting and you're getting right to the end, I'm just saying, don't wait till the very, very, very last minute and then expect, right on the Friday at 5 p.m. There will be no, the week where everybody will be finishing it, or where it's like the 3-month, I'll be super on top of it. But if you're in some random sphere in a different week, you're going to have to give, stay within this Monday through Friday, 24 and 72 hours notice. So this is what the email will look like, or after you process it, you'll receive an email. It'll look like this. This will be your verification. So just save that. Again, nothing. And then it'll say 95 days, which is 90 days, right? Because that's an extra 5-day cushion. We're not even remembering that. And then $100 after that. But, you're going to finish before that, so it won't cost you anything. So here are the 3 emails. Before I go any further, I'm just going to check to see if I have any questions. Okay, hold up. I'm going to see if I have any, because can we finish the course early? Yes, I would love for you to finish the course early. I hope you finish the course early. Is this only if we don't finish within 3 months time frame? Yes. So if you finish within the 3 months, you will not pay. Okay, let me just go to my main screen here. If you finish within 3 months, all you have to do is Slack me, which you will be part of the Slack community. You will already be engaged. And you're just going to say, Kristen, I finished. And I'm going to, great, here's your certification. And I'm going to cancel you. And it takes me like 60 seconds to put the cancellation through. I'm not going to be at everybody's immediate response, because I do other things in my daily job. So that's why there's a response time frame of 24 hours on weekdays, 72 on weekends. But that I like to live by under promise and over deliver, which is I give you those time frames, but it'll likely be much quicker than that. But I still want to hold you to those time frames. So if you finish within 90 days, you won't be charged. Let's say I make an error and you're charged. I will make it right. We'll fix it. But I don't think that'll happen. But let's just say it does. I will fix it. You'll get a refund. Everything will be fine. Don't worry. You will not pay for the course if you finish the course within 90 days. I promise. You're good. So let's just know that I'm not, there's no shadiness going on here. We're good. So I'm just going to move on and show you guys the rest now. Okay. All right. So this is the 3 emails that you're going to get. So the first email, so this is the first, which is the bottom of the 3. So there's 3 emails here. The first one is the order receipt. That's the one I just showed you. which is one earlier. Actually, let me just go back because we kind of lost our flow. So so that bottom email is this one. And then the middle one, the welcome to Master Your Craft, that's your registration email. They come in tandem together. So it'll be like boom, boom, 2 emails. And that welcome to Master Your Craft is the email where you're going to register for the course. Again, this all happens in one fell swoop. The payment of $0 and the registration all happens on the same day, which is going to be May 4th, Thursday, May 4th. And then whenever you email me and you say, Kristen, I finished the course, I'm done, I'm going to say, wonderful, fantastic, congratulations. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to cancel it. And it's technically structured as a subscription. So you're going to get an email that says your subscription was canceled. And that's going to be what this email looks like at the bottom here. And that's what it looks like when you receive it in the top right here is what it looks like when you receive it in your inbox. And that is it. And then you're good to go. You're not going to have any payments. That's what it'll look like. Possible questions, because I'm psychic like that. Setting up the payment is how to get access to the course. There are no exceptions. We do not hold your credit card info. I'm not personally taking your credit card. That's Stripe. That's a Stripe thing. Reminders will be sent, but there aren't refunds for missing reminder emails. So please set your own calendar reminders too. The same way that you would be like, I'm not paying for LinkedIn Learning. I'm not paying for LinkedIn Learning. In 30 days, you set your calendar reminder for day 28. Do the same thing. I'm going to be sending reminders as well, but I just want you, it's a lot managing all of these people. So I just want you to do your own. You do your own piece too. Dropouts don't count as finishing. You must complete at least 4 units to drop out. Yes, we'll allow dropouts. Like if you start taking the course, you're just not into it, fine. But just go watch four lessons. That's all we ask. And please read the terms on the checkout page when you receive it on May 4th. The checkout page, again, you can trust. I kind of went over that a minute ago. Like, I've come from HR. My job is to set up processes and systems and to give tons of information to people so they have all the information they need to make educated decisions, set up benefit systems and all that good stuff. I'm doing this job because I want to do good by people. I didn't feel like I was affecting enough change in the HR organization. And so you can trust that my intentions are good. So moving on to now, I just wanted to clarify one thing that could cause a little confusion. The Bossy Sauce and Master Your Craft are 2 brands under the same umbrella. Technically, the Bossy Sauce lives at the top of the umbrella with Master Your Craft and my podcast, the job interview, underneath the umbrella, but I don't want to confuse everybody too much. So you'll probably just see the Bossy Sauce and Master Your Craft. And if you see those, I just created the Master Your Craft company page on LinkedIn. It has literally like no followers, but a lot of people wanted to have that seal and not have the Bossy Sauce as what was associated with their certification. And so you can use whatever one you want, either Master Your Craft with little followers or the Bossy Sauce with a lot of followers, whatever one feels better for you. So the days ahead. May 4th. Again, we've talked about this. I said this day a few times. Registration will open for 7 days. Oh, I got to get through this real quick so I leave some Q&A time. Registration will open for 7 days only. Let me drink some water first. And emails and reminders will be sent the 1st and 2nd week of May. So check your spam and promotions folder and then mark them safe because that is going to be the email you'll receive all your course emails from. Like all the reminders and everything I'm going to send, same. It's going to be the same email. So make sure that if it lands somewhere else, you mark it safe. The registration will be open for 7 days only, but it's going to start on May 4th and it won't start earlier than May 4th. So if you reach out and you're like, hey, Kristen, what's going on? I'm going to be like, it's not May 4th yet. May 4th, and it'll be open for 7 days. And the day that you register is going to be the day that you receive the content going forward. So if it's May 4th and you go ahead and you put in your credit card info, and you register for the course, that's going to be the day that you receive like Thursdays will be the day, every day that you get your new units and lessons. But let's say you wait until Saturday. Now, if you wait until Saturday to register, then that means Saturday is going to be your day that you get all your lessons. That's fine, but just don't wait more than 7 days because then it's going to be too late. Just wanted to let you know, registration day, start day is the same day. So I know it's hard to imagine. Everybody's like, what the day? But it's just like LinkedIn. I'm going to keep referencing LinkedIn Learning. Like the day you enter in your credit card is the day you get access to your LinkedIn Learning lessons. It's the same concept. So what will be in the email that I'll send? Everything. Slack community registration, the 0 for 3 months processing, course account setup, drip style course info, Slack community guidelines, the registration deadline of Thursday, May 11th. So exactly 1 week later, plus a few hours, because I'm nice like that, that will be the deadline. If you've been accepted to the course already, you have nothing to do before May 4th. But if you haven't been accepted yet, then the application deadline is April 24th. You should hear back within 3 days. And the application link is right below. So make sure you click that link. It's the top link in the links below and apply, because that is Monday. It's Monday at noon Pacific time. So make sure that you don't miss that deadline. And now it's a Q&A time. So I'm going to put my camera back, flip back to questions. Okay. Let me go back. I'm going to scroll up and go in the order in which they were received. Okay. All right. Can we finish the course early? Yes. The earliest that you can finish the course is week 6 because the way the course is drip released is once a week. And it's 6 weeks. And so you can finish the course at week 6. And so I hope on week 6, I get everybody messaging me going, I finished. And everybody wraps up and that's it. That would be my ideal scenario. Now I know that's not going to happen, but that is exactly what I would hope for. Is this only if we don't finish in 3 months time frame? I think I answered that one. Okay. All the thank yous. This is awesome. On May 4th, the course will start. Is there a time, or is this going to be any time on May 4th? So the email will get sent out in the morning of May 4th. The morning, I haven't really had the email curated or sent, but I would say you can expect the email before 9 a.m. Pacific time on the 4th. Yes. So Anne asks, after the end of sorry, I'm not reading the questions out. I probably should ask these questions. I just realized I was doing a major webinar faux pas and not reading the questions. So Preet asks, the prior one that I just answered, on May 4th, the course will start. Is there a time, or is it going to be any time on May 4th? So yes, the email will be sent out before 9 a.m. on May 4th, before 9 a.m. Pacific time. I haven't nailed down the exact time yet. After the end of each course, is there some sort of test to know that we have finished the course? So the whole course, there's going to be only one test, and that is the Boolean test. And so the test that you'll be taking really, it has just to do with Boolean. And so the certification that you'll be receiving is for completing the course. And the test is really just around Boolean. And the reason for that is that the other components, that's really the more difficult component is the Boolean. I'm just going to be honest with you and say that. And that's really the piece that I would love for everybody to take away from this, is learning the Boolean, because I think that's the competitive edge that you're going to have. The other pieces are are things that you could potentially learn on the job within a year, 2 or 3. But Boolean is something that not even a lot of recruiters have these days. So I think that that's something that that you'll definitely have a competitive edge with. Any other questions? Does the program help with resumes? I believe it does, just based off of the data. Prior to this current recession, or this job, I don't know what we were calling it yet, the tech layoffs, the data was showing that the students that were taking the course were getting promoted to sourcer or recruiter within 7 months of taking the course. And so that was like really exceptional data. In fact, I don't think we had a single student that didn't get promoted within that time frame. I don't want to make any promises by saying that out loud, but I do know that it has helped. And I've had, I think, almost every student reach back out to me saying that it really has helped them on the job. I've had so many students say they're putting they're applying the skills that they learned in the course, actively doing things on the job. And I've had, like promotions within companies they were working at, as well as, job hunts. So, I mean, the data was showing, yes, it was helping. Okay, for the course syllabus and the recruitment data section of week 3, any chance you can elaborate again on the reporting examples that will be covered? So yes. Let me get 1 second here. So I do know we'd be going over, again, I do want to elaborate, Patrick, that the reporting data aspect is an intro to recruitment data, but it is and will be an understanding of how to kind of look at the recruitment data that a lot of leaders expect you to be able to pull from your applicant tracking system and understand, and then also to understand what is valuable, what's manipulatable, I don't know, and how to get what you need to get from that data, and also how to look at data differently and how to get creative with data. And so it's, well, I can't really go into it without going in fully into it. So I think that's where I'll leave that for now. But I do want to set expectations that when I talk about data, people get like, oh my gosh, yes. Because recruitment data is such a buzzword, and it's been a buzzword for 6 years. That I feel like I want to set proper expectations, that I could do a whole separate course on just recruitment data. That's why it's called Intro to Recruitment Data. So Isabella asks, is the login for the course content included in registration, or need to purchase a plan with SamCart to have access to content and lessons? No, you do not purchase access to SamCart. SamCart is something that SamCart is the tool that I purchase. So SamCart is where I host the course. It's where it is a cart transaction host and course hosting platform. And so that is what I use as my software. And so if you see hosted by SamCart at on the signature of things and stuff, that's because it's the tool that I pay for and I use. You don't need to do anything with SamCart except for log in and enjoy the course experience. And how that works is that after you put your credit card in on May 4th for the $0 trial, then you're going to, for the $0 trial, then you'll also get those 2 emails. The receipt for $0, and then another email for your course registration, which is really the product that you purchased for $0 and where you're going to be logging in. And then you can bookmark that page and log in every day or once a week or what have you in order to access your course content. So you do not need to really, honestly, the fact that you even know the name Sam Cart is surprising to me. You don't even need to know that name. Okay, so Remy, thanks so much for doing this. Will this course be ATS compatible, applicable against most or all ATS systems? Do you have a favorite ATS? Mine is Greenhouse. Okay, so I don't focus specifically on an applicant tracking system per se. There isn't I don't know if you noticed when we went over lessons, there wasn't anything specific to applicant tracking systems, but there is going to be in the bonus areas, I have a 2 tutorial walkthroughs that I do of smart recruiters that I actually have. I'm just going to tell you, like, you can go find them right now. They on YouTube where I do for smart recruiters is a walkthrough for the free applicant tracking system. And so that's more of like a bonus content. And then I also guide towards some free webinars that are weekly for some other applicant tracking systems for you to learn. Now, that's really, again, it's not really included, but it is a way to learn more applicant tracking systems. And so you could put it as like intro level experience with new ATSs. I would say the experience is definitely agnostic. It's more recruiting based than applicant tracking system based. My favorite applicant tracking system would have to be Greenhouse. Greenhouse is my favorite. A lot of companies don't use it because it is expensive, but it is the best. The best bang for your buck, I would have to say, though, is Lever. And then, yeah, but Greenhouse is by far the best. Any other questions? I can run over for about 2 more minutes. Of course. I thank you, Remy, for the good questions. I appreciate all these great questions. These are fantastic questions. I'm really excited that everybody is excited. So I'm really, such a great group. I can tell already. Coordinators are my favorite. I love working with recruiting coordinators. So I'm really excited. If I don't see any other questions, and if somebody else can't ask me any questions here, for some reason you don't have a Google account because that is, or a YouTube account, you can go ahead and message me through LinkedIn. My LinkedIn messaging is open. You can click the LinkedIn, my LinkedIn profile below, send me a message in there. Anybody can LinkedIn with me too. And yeah, I always say, as long as you don't look like you're going to sell me too hard on anything, I'll pretty much connect with anybody. So please feel free to LinkedIn with me. And other than that, if you haven't applied yet, please do. Monday is the deadline. And I look forward to seeing all of your lovely digital faces in the course as well, if you've been accepted. And yeah, this has been really great. Thank you for showing up, and I will connect with you all soon. Bye for now.